AI can write code. Don't waste your future writing what AI can generate. Learn to think, review, debug, build, create systems. The future belongs to system architects.
Welcome to Play on A. In this course, you will learn Python for AI coding,
Python loops and loop control for while, break, continue. Goal by the end of this lesson. Learning objective. 1. Understand and implement for and while loops to automate repetitive tasks in Python. 2. Iterate through lists, strings, ranges, and other sequences. Use break and continuance statements to control loop execution and optimize program flow. Write clean, proper, testable looping logic using proper indentation and best practices. 5. Why? Master real-world use case for loops. 6. Avoid common loops, pit-tails, and optimized readable code. 7. Build first script using Python loops today. Final goal. Build a strong Python foundation for AI chatbots, LLM applications, AI agents, RAG systems, MCP servers, and intelligent automation by mastering how AI programs process collections of data, repeat tasks efficiently, control execution flow, and manage iterative decision-making using Python loops and loop control statements. Outcome. Confidently design and implement powerful looping logic in Python using for loops, while loops, break, and continue, enabling efficient iteration, controlled execution flow, and scalable automation for real-world AI applications. 1. Python for loop. One of most commonly used loops in Python. The for loop. Now, before we start typing code, let me explain what a for loop is and why it's so useful. A for loop in Python is used when we want to repeat a block of code for each item in a sequence. That sequence could be a list, a string, a tuple, or even a range of numbers. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine our checking-in guest at a hotel. Have a list of names, and for each name, want to print a welcome message. Would write 5 print statements that would be inefficient. Instead, with a for loop, Python can automatically go through list and print a message for each guest one by one. Let's take one more example. Imagine have a list of your favorite fruits, apple, banana, mango. Want to print each fruit one after other. Do manually type print 3 times? No, we use a loop to go through list and print each fruit automatically. That's exactly what for loop does. It goes through each item in a sequence one at a time. Now, let's talk about syntax. For keyword followed by item, and then in keyword followed by sequence and then colon. Then indent and write block of code. Want to repeat. Python repeats this block for every item in sequence until there are no items left. Let's now go to and write some code together. Let's name it for loop demo. We'll start with a very simple example using a list. Let's type fruits equals within square brackets. Apple, banana, mango. This line creates a list called fruits. The list has 3 values. Apple, banana, and mango each has a string. Now let's type for keyword, followed by variable name called fruit, and then in keyword, followed by list fruits, and then colon. Here we are telling Python to go through each item in list fruits. Each item will be temporarily stored in a variable called fruit. Then we can use that variable inside our loop block. Let's now indent and type print, open brackets, fruit, close brackets. This line will print current fruit in list on each loop iteration. So entire loop says for every fruit, in list print its name. Let's run it. The output will be apple, banana, mango. Each item is printed on a new line automatically handled by loop. Now let's try another example, this time using a range of numbers. Let's type for number in range within square brackets 1, 6 and then colon. This means start from 1, go up to but not including year 6. So numbers will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now indent and type print, open brackets, number, close brackets. This loop will run 5 times. Each time variable number holds one value from range. Let's run this loop. Output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just printed 5 numbers using a single for loop. Let's take one more example to iterate over strings using a for loop. In this example, we're going to learn how to use a for loop to go through each character in a string step by step. We'll start by creating a simple string. Let's type text equals within double quotes. Hello world. This line creates a string variable named text and value we assign as hello world. Now we want to loop through each letter in the string. So we type for keyword, followed by variable name called letter, then in keyword, followed by variable text, and then colon. This line tells Python to look at string text one character at a time. One character at a time. Each character like H, then E, then L, will be temporarily stored in variable letter. Now we write body of loop. We indent next line and type print within a brackets pass letter variable. This means for every character in string printed on a new line. Let's now run program and check output. You'll see letters printed one by one like this. HELLO space WORLD. This is how Python handles strings. It treats them as a sequence of characters, so can loop through them easily using a for loop. Now let's see how to use break statement inside a for loop to stop loop early based on a condition. This is very useful when are looking for something specific and once found want to exit loop immediately. Let's start by creating a list of fruits. We type fruits equals within square brackets, apple, banana, cherry. This line creates a list named fruits. Now we want to loop through list and print items until we find banana. So we write for loop. We type for keyword, followed by variable name called fruit, then in keyword, followed by list fruits, and then colon. This tells Python to go through each fruit in list. The current fruit will be stored in a variable called fruit. Now inside loop, let's check a condition we type. If fruit double equals double quotes banana colon. This line checks whether current fruit is banana. If it is, we want to stop loop. So in next indented line, we write break. This break statement tells Python exit loop right now. The remaining items will not be processed. Now finally, let's write print statement to show fruit if it wasn't banana. So we type print open brackets fruit, close brackets. This line prints current fruit, but only if break was not triggered. Let's run program and check output. It prints apple. That's it. As soon as it sees banana, loop stops, and it never reaches cherry. This is how break statement works. It gives control to exit early when a specific condition is met. Next, we will see how to use continuous statement inside a full loop. The continuous statement is used when we want to skip a specific item in loop, but continue looping through rest. Let's take an example where we loop through a list of fruits. Let's type fruits equals within square brackets apple, banana, cherry. This line creates a list named fruits with 3 values, apple, banana, and cherry. Now let's start a for loop to print each fruit. We type for keyword, followed by variable name called fruit, then in keyword, followed by list fruits, and then colon. This tells Python to go through each item in list one by one. Next, we want to check if fruit is banana, and if it is, we'll skip printing it. We type if fruit double equals double quotes banana colon. This line checks is current fruit equal to banana. If yes, we want to skip it and move to next item. So on indented line, we write continue. This tells Python, don't run rest of code in this iteration. Jump back to next item. Now after that, we type print open brackets fruit, close brackets. This line will only print fruit. If continuous statement wasn't triggered, let's now run program and check output. It prints apple, cherry. The fruit banana was skipped because we told Python to continue to next item. So that's how continuous statement works. It's very useful when want to ignore certain values, but still keep looping through rest of list. Alright, so for loop is a clean and powerful way to handle repetition in Python, and it's something you'll use in almost every program. 2. Python, while loop in Python, a very flexible way to repeat actions while a condition is true. Already know about for loop, which repeats for a specific number of times, or over a sequence. But what if we don't know how many times we need to run something? Let's say want to keep counting up until a certain number, but don't know exactly when to stop until user says so, or until a sensor gives a reading. That's where while loop comes in. It keeps repeating your code as long as a condition is true. When condition becomes false, it exits loop. Here's definition. The while loop in Python is used to repeat a block of code again and again. While a condition remains true, once condition becomes false, Python stops loop and moves on. Let's now break down syntax. While keyword followed by a condition, then call. Next line we indent and write block of code we want to run while condition is true. The condition is checked before each iteration. If it's true, loop runs. If it's false, loop ends immediate. Also remember, Python requires indentation. Usually 4 spaces or 1 tab or interpreter will throw an error. Now let's understand this with a flowchart. Take a look at diagram. First, program starts and encounters while condition block. This diamond-shaped symbol is where condition is checked. If condition is true, flow moves to right and runs block of code. Once code block finishes, it loops back to condition again. So as long as condition stays true, it keeps running over and over. But if condition becomes false, flow moves down and exits loop. No more looping. Program continues to whatever comes next. This is perfect when want to run something until a specific situation occurs. Let's now see while loop in action. Let's go to our project let's name it while loop demo. In this example, we will count from 1 to 5 based on condition using while loop. So let's type our first line counter equals 1. This creates a variable named counter and stores value 1 in it. We'll use this variable to track our count during a loop. Now type while counter less than or equal to 5 : This is our loop condition. It means as long as counter is 5 or less, Python will keep running code inside this loop. Now press enter and indent next line type print within brackets past counter variable. This prints current value of counter on screen. Now we must update counter to avoid an infinite loop. Next line still inside loop counter equals counter plus 1. This increases value of counter by 1 after every loop run. So first it's 1, then 2, then 3, and so on until it reaches 6 where condition fails. Let's run this code. The output will be 1, 2, 3, 4 as 5. And then loop stops because counter becomes 6 and condition counter less than or equal to 5 is no longer true. This is most common use case, a controlled counter loop using while, and always remember indentation is critical. The print line and update line should be indented by 4 spaces, so Python knows they are part of loop. Now let's try opposite counting down. Let's type count equals 5. This sets count to 5, and we'll decrease it with every loop. Okay. Next, let's type while keyword followed by count variable, and then greater than 0, and followed by a colon. This loop condition says, keep running as long as count is more than 0. Now indent and write print within brackets count. This prints current value of count during each loop run. Now we must decrease value of count. Still inside loop type count equals count minus 1. This reduces count by 1 after every print. So first it's 5, then 4, and so on, until it reaches 0 and loop ends. Let's run program. The output will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The loop stops because when count becomes 0 condition is no longer true. This kind of countdown is often used in games, timers, or retrieval mechanisms. Now, let's see a simple Python program that uses a while loop to calculate sum of numbers from 1 to 5. Let's write code step by step. We start by typing number equals 1. This line initializes a variable called number, and we set it to 1. We'll use this variable to start counting from 1. Next, we type total equals 0. This line creates another variable called total, which we'll use to store sum of numbers. Right now, we set it to 0, since nothing has been added yet. Now we begin our loop type, while keyword followed by number, less than or equal to 5, and then colon. This is condition that controls loop. As long as value of number is less than or equal to 5, loop will keep running. Now we write body of loop, make sure to indent next lines. We type total plus equals number. This line increases value of number by 1 on each iteration. So next time loop runs, we move to next number in sequence. Once loop finishes when number becomes 6, we exit loop. Outside loop, we type print within brackets, within double quotes. Write string sum is then a comma and a variable total. This line prints final result, which is sum of numbers from 1 to 5. Let's now run program. We'll see output. Sum is 15. Here's how it works. We started from 1 and added 2, 3, 4, and 5, giving us a total of 15. This example is great for understanding how a while loop works with counters and accumulators. Let's quickly review what we learned. A while loop keeps running as long as condition is true. Once condition becomes false, loop exits. We saw 3 examples, counting from 1 to 5 count, down from 5 to 1, adding sum of number. We also learned why indentation is necessary. All loop code must be indented, usually with 4 spaces. If not, Python will throw an error. Finally, always make sure your loop has an exit plan, whether by updating a variable or using a break. Never let a while loop run endless. 3. Python break statement, the break statement in Python. So far, we've used for loops and while loops to repeat actions either through sequences or based on conditions, but sometimes don't want to run a loop until it naturally ends. Instead, want to stop loop in middle when a certain condition is met. That's where break statement comes in. Let me give a real-world example. Let's say you're searching for your favorite fruit in a list and once find it, stop looking. Don't care about rest or done. This is exactly what break statement does in Python. It gives control to exit a loop early, even if loop hasn't finished iterating all values or even if condition is still true. Here's definition. The break statement in Python is used to exit a loop prematurely. It immediately stops loop and Python continues with next statement after loop. Can use break in both for loops and while loops. It helps fine-tune control flow inside your program. Let's look at syntax of break statement for a for loop. We write for keyword, followed by variable name in keyword, followed by sequence and colon. Then indent inside loop. We write your condition colon, indent again, and write break below that we can write rest of block. So if condition is true, break runs and exits loop immediate. Now same for while loop. We write while keyword followed by condition and then colon. Then indent inside loop. We write if keyword followed by condition and colon. Then indent again and type break period and below that can add rest of block. Let's now go to VS Code and see this in action. Let's name it break statement demo. In this example, we'll see how to use break statement inside a for loop in Python. The break statement is used when want to exit loop early as soon as condition is met. Let's walk through it step by step. We'll start by creating a list of fruits. Let's type fruits equals within square brackets apple, banana, cherry, date. This line creates a list named fruits with 4 items: apple, banana, cherry, and date, each one as a string. Now we want to loop through this list and stop when we reach cherry. So we type for keyword followed by variable name called fruit, then in keyword followed by list name fruits, and then colon. This tells Python for every fruit in list, one by one run loop. Each fruit is temporarily stored in variable called fruit. Now inside loop, we check for a condition. We type If keyword followed by fruit double equals within double quotes, cherry then colon. This checks whether current fruit is equal to cherry. If yes, we want to exit loop immediately. So we type break. This is break statement. It stops loop in Python. Jumps out of it, no more iterations will happen after that. But if condition is not met, meaning fruit is not cherry, we continue with loop. So we type print open brackets fruit, close brackets. This will print name of fruit, but only if it's not cherry. Once loop hits cherry, it will break and stop printing. Let's now run program and check output. You'll see apple, banana, that's it. Loop prints apple and banana, but as soon as it reaches cherry, break statement kicks in and loop ends. This is how break statement works. It helps exit a loop early when a certain condition is satisfied. It's useful when don't want to process all items just until a specific one. Now let's see how break statement works inside a while loop in Python. The break statement is useful when want to stop loop early as soon as a condition is met. Let's go step by step. We begin by initializing a variable. Let's type I equals 1. Here we are creating a variable named I and setting its starting value to 1. We'll use this variable to control while loop. Now we write loop itself. We type while I less than 10 colon. This is our condition. As long as I is less than 10, loop will continue running. Now we move to body of loop. We indent and type print within brackets I period. This will print current value of I each time loop runs. Next, we check if we want to break loop. We type if I double equals 5 colon. Here we're checking is I equal to 5. If yes, we want to exit loop right away. So we type break. This tells Python to immediately stop loop, no matter what condition says. Finally, we update value of I. We type I plus equals 1 point. This increases value of I by 1 on each loop iteration, so eventually loop can stop. Let's now run program and see output. The loop will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as I becomes 5, break condition is true. So loop ends, and we don't see 6, 7, or 8. This is how break statement works inside a while loop. It gives control to exit early, especially when something specific happens, like hitting a limit, finding an item, or receiving input. Let's quickly wrap up what we learned. The break statement in Python is used to exit a loop early before loop condition becomes false or sequence ends. It works in both for loops and while loop. In our first example, we used it to stop a loop when we found a specific item in a list. In our second example, we used it to break a while loop when variable reached a target value. Always make sure a break statement is indented inside your loop block, or we'll get a syntax error. Break is very useful when need find control over when your loop should stop. In next lecture, we will look at continuous statement, which skips one iteration but doesn't exit loop. 4. Python continuous statement. The continuous statement in Python, a powerful way to control how loops behave. Have already seen how loops work, like for loops and while loops that repeat actions again and again. Have also seen break statement, which completely exits loop when a condition is met. But what if don't want to stop loop? What if just want to skip one iteration and move on to next? That's exactly what continuous statement is used for. Let me explain it in real-world terms. Imagine you're reading names from a list and want to skip one specific name, but continue printing rest. Let's say you want to skip banana, but print every other fruit. The continuous statement helps do that. It skips rest of current loop and jumps straight to next iteration. The loop itself doesn't stop. Only that one round is skipped. Here's definition. The continuous statement is used inside a loop to skip current iteration and move to next one. When Python hits a continuous statement, it ignores any code that comes up to it inside loop and jumps directly to next cycle of loop. This gives more control, especially when want to filter out certain values or skip unnecessary steps. Can use continuing both for loops and while loops. The continuous statement can be used inside for or while loops. When continuous statement is executed, loop immediately jumps to next iteration, skipping any code that follows it within loop for current iteration. Inside loop, use a new statement to check something, and inside that, use continue. When it runs, Python goes back to top of loop, skipping anything after continue. Let's now switch to VS Code and write some examples. The continued keyword is used to skip a specific iteration of loop and move directly to next one. Let's understand this with a simple example. We begin by creating a list of fruits. Let's type fruits equals within square brackets. Apple, banana, cherry, date. This creates a list called fruits with 4 string values. Apple, banana, cherry, and date. Now we'll use a for loop to go through each fruit in list. Let's type for keyword followed by variable name called fruit, then in keyword followed by list fruits and then colon. This line tells Python to loop through each fruit in list one by one. Each fruit will be temporarily stored in variable fruit. Let's now write a condition to skip one of fruits. We type if fruit double equals within double quotes banana colon. Here we were saying if current fruit is banana, we don't want to process it. So next we type continue. This tells Python, skip rest of loop for this item and jump to next iteration. If current fruit is not banana, we want to print it. So we type print within a brackets pass fruit variable. Now let's run this code and see what happens. Look at here, output apple cherry date. The banana is skipped and rest of fruits are printed. This is how continuous statement works. It helps skip over specific items. Maybe don't want to show an error message or ignore a particular value. Very useful when filtering data inside loops. Now let's see how continuous statement works inside a while loop. We've already used continue enough for loop, and now we'll see how it works in a while loop as well. The idea is same. It lets us skip a specific iteration of loop and move directly to next one. Let's understand this with a simple example. We start by declaring a variable. Let's type I equals 0. This means we are starting our loop from number 0. Now let's create while loop. We type while I less than 5 and then colon. This loop will run as long as value of I is less than 5. Now inside loop, first thing we do is increase value of I. So we type I plus equals 1. This line increases I by 1 on every loop iteration. Next, we write a condition to skip a specific number. We type if I double equals 3 colon. We want to skip printing number 3, so we use continuous statement. Let's type continue. This means when I is equal to 3, we'll skip print statement and go back to top of loop. Now let's write print line for all other values. We type print within a brackets pass variable it. Let's now run program and check output. The output will be 1, 2, 4, 5. As can see, number 3 is skipped. Exactly what we wanted. This example shows how continuous skip just one iteration and lets loop continue with rest. Very useful when want to ignore certain conditions, like skipping invalid input or skipping a step when a condition matches. The continuous statement in Python is used to skip rest of code inside a loop for one iteration and continue with next loop cycle. We would continue inside both for loops and while loops. In for loop example, we skipped printing banana, but printed all other fruits. In while loop example, we skipped specific number and printed rest of numbers. The syntax is simple. Inside your loop, use an if statement to check a condition. If it's true, type continue. Python will jump to next loop iteration, skipping remaining lines in current loop body. This gives more precision in how your loops behave, especially when dealing with filtering, skipping, or ignoring unwanted data. And always remember, indentation is required. Continue should be indented properly inside loop block. Any code below continue in same loop iteration will not run.
Support line, get assist, stuck anywhere or feeling overwhelmed? No worries. Check the links in the description or leave a comment below. I personally reply whenever I can. If you enjoyed this lesson, Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Python, AI, and automation tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep building!